We've been in the customer service industry for more than 65 years combined. Amos and I created this podcast to share our thoughts on how you can navigate customer service. And while we don't always agree, and I often have to explain to Amos why he's wrong, we hope that you will be the winner based on our experiences working from the inside out.
Bob, it is good to see you. It's Fridays when we do this recording. For those of you who don't know, I get to end my day talking to one of my best friends and reminding him how wrong he is on everything. So it's a beautiful day.
Well, you're right about one thing. Fridays are a good day.
See, he even agrees I am right. So let me jump in. Bob, today is an interesting one I want to bring to you. So this is a common occurrence for all of us. You make an appointment with your doctor. By the way, the doctor picks the time. It's not you who calls him and says, I would like to come in. I've got a window. No. The doctor tells you, I can only see you 3:35 p.m. next Wednesday. Do not be late. In fact, if you are late or, no show, I would charge you for it. So you take time off work, you plan the whole thing, and you get to the lobby. You get to the lobby, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait. At 5:30, somebody finally sees you, and then you leave the office. He spends 30 seconds with you, and then you leave his office finally at 6:30.
You forgot to wait in the treatment room.
Right, just by yourself.
You wait out front. You come in and the nurse talks to you, and you wait in another little waiting room, and then they call you in, and then you wait in there, and then eventually the nurse comes back, and then eventually the doctor shows up
for 30 seconds.
Right.
And he or she's gone, and you've killed a half a day of your life. So Bob, this is one that I don't know that I have any good solutions other than I say,
I've got a solution for you. I talked to a couple of my friends in the industry, so we'll end with a solution.
Oh, that's good, because the only thing I can come up with is some kind of fairness. If you're going to charge me $50 or whatever for a missed appointment or a late appointment, shouldn't we have a process that goes the other way? So on this one, Bob, as opposed to debating you here, I'm asking you, what is your point of view on this whole doctor visits in our healthcare system?
Well, 20 years ago, 20 or 25 years ago, somewhere in that neighborhood, I was going to a doctor's group here in Memphis.
Yeah.
And I had the same experience that you have. That hasn't changed in that length of time.
Right.
And I wasn't rude, but I was straightforward. When the doctor came in, I said close to what you said.
Right.
I work, I'm busy, I need to be in my office, much like you do. I've been waiting now for 2.5 hours.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me that you schedule me for 2:00 and you don't show up to take care of me until 3:30. And he listened, and
that's good.
about a week later, he listened. He apologized. About a week later, I got an email, a letter to my house saying that I was no longer welcome at that doctor.
You got fired by your doctor.
I got fired by my doctor. So what's the solve? How do you fix this? If you don't want to get fired by your doctor, especially in the world of insurance, you don't want to get fired by your doctor. Now, somebody out there in radio land is thinking that, well, I must have been a major jerk. I probably was more of a Attila the customer than I remember being, but I was genuinely surprised that I got fired. And I've got a cousin who we talk about in the family that is Attila the customer 365, and I never want to be like her or him.
Karen. A modern day Karen.
Yes, but I in anticipation of this show today, I did talk to a couple of friends of mine that
Yep.
work in doctor groups. And so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna disagree with you. I hate it also. I don't have I don't have another side of that, but I do have some inside scoop. The first thing is you want to make your appointments early in the morning.
Okay.
So if you're the first appointment, you have
Ah.
less chance. It's sort of like flying on a plane.
Right.
If you take the first flight out, you got a better chance statistically of being
Yeah.
seen on time. If you
That's good.
choose the first appointment of the day, you have a better chance because the doctor's not going to get behind. And what they call that is, oh, he had an emergency, which
Mm.
means that he got behind.
Right. Right.
but but you do avoid a potential emergency, or the doctor
That's good.
shows up on time, you're the first or second appointment, you're in there and out of there. Now the worst appointments are 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon
Maybe that's my problem.
because he's run behind, right? Makes sense.
Yeah, no, that is helpful. I mean, that's one of the missions of this show, to help you guys get more educated, and if we can, give you tips to get better service. I'll tell you, to kind of piggyback off of your story. I tried to fire my doctor. So I have an orthopedic, and I was in his lobby. I'm not kidding. For over 4 hours, I would go in and I would check. And so I left the lobby, got in my truck, and I drove home. On my drive home, I get a phone call. The administrative people are perplexed that I left. I go, like, I mean, they are lecturing me on how, like, that's never been done, and this, you just don't leave. I said, I've been there for 4 hours. So we had a disagreement. I'm not going to come here anymore. Da, da, da. So of course I quickly find out that I can't, given that I have an insurance company, and this is the one, this is the one guy for my hip that is covered. So I said, well, that's easy. Maybe I should just fire my medical insurance thing. Like, and if you work for a living, you can't do that either. That's also been that's also been prescribed for you. So I went crawling back to my orthopedic and making more appointments and moving on. So Bob, I
So
love
I'm trying to I'm trying to imagine you being in this beast mode of, well, I'll show you. And then at every time you turned around, somebody was pouring a bucket of Gatorade on top of your head, not because you won, but because they were putting you out.
yeah, they're like, no, you can't. You're stuck with
Can't
this
do it.
doctor.
Can't do
You're
it.
stuck with the insurance,
Yeah.
and yeah, this is your doctor. So I love the tips. I wasn't prepared for you to come with solutions. I love the tips, but is this one of those where I wonder if the consumer, all of us, by the way, are just helpless? We just have to put up with it.
I think we're helpless to a point.
Mm.
But there are, and so what I have noticed is I am getting more surveys from my doctor
Okay.
about my experience. So
Okay.
for multiple doctors, multiple specialists. So I realize that you don't believe in answering surveys, but this
No.
is one of those times where you get a shot at the doctor,
Okay.
and you can tell them what your experience was. I think the bigger the doctor organization,
Mm.
the more likely that they have somebody who's reading that data. So the mom and pop may or may not be reading that. But
Okay.
then I'll give you one more bit of inside advice. If you're going to a doctor, a PCP or a specialist, that's part of a larger corporation or a hospital. So I'm going to a doctor and they're connected to the hospital in my city. In the city of Memphis, it's either St. Francis or Methodist or Baptist. Then those organizations, that corporation may have a clause in that doctor's success
Right.
of what kind of rating are they getting, and they're bonused on good ratings and they're dinged on bad ratings.
Interesting. Okay.
In Medicare, that
Right.
has definitely become the case, that if I get a bad, I can get a lower rating as a doctor, uh, if my patients are not satisfied with my service. So if you go to someone who allows you to, either they send you a survey, and then you can also personally go to somewhere like Ratemd, Health
Okay.
Grades, Vitals.com, all of those online places, and tell the public what your experience was. I've actually looked at that information when I was trying to choose a new doctor. But
Okay.
I'll give you one more chaos that they created. I
Okay.
was going to a neurologist organization. I was dissatisfied with the bedside manner of the neurologist I was seeing. I literally called them up and said, I would like to see a different doctor
Right.
in your group. And they said, we don't switch patients to different doctors. So I walked away to a different organization. They would rather me than to have to deal with the blowback that they have a bad doctor and their people are transferring away from them. They would rather you to leave
Then
than to deal with that. And
uh,
but by the way, this doctor had the worst health grade
on
Ratemd
the
vitals possible about his bedside manner.
uh,
So I think, who is the doctor and what is their connection, and then how do I get a morning appointment?
I think those are fantastic tips. On our way out, Bob, any kind of things you learned, quotes you want to share with folks?
Well, I think we've talked a lot. What I wrote down was, be nice when you complain.
Mm,
Complain from a place of data, from a place of, like you said, I've been here for 2 hours. I've been here for 4 hours.
right.
Not emotional about it, but factual about the situation. Although I believe I was probably factual, I was probably also emotional when I got fired. Uh, and then I found a cool. I thought what was somewhat of a funny and cool way to end, with Winston Churchill quote of,
Okay.
criticism may not be agreeable, but
Right.
it is necessary. It calls attention to an unhealthy state of things.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe you quote that to your doctor just before you tell them you're unhappy.
Uh, so mine is probably the biggest things I think I just dawned on me, and I've known this for a while, but saying it out loud is really sad. Is we used to be patients a long, long, long time ago, and we are now customers. And
We
so
used to
this
be
is
patients because they cared about us. They used to come
right,
to our house, for God's
right,
sakes,
like on the door,
and they
all of
used to
that.
let me pay them with a chicken. So, not in my lifetime, because
we've just we've
I'm
just
too young
lost
for that.
everyone born in the 1900s. We've just lost that. And but
History lesson for free.
for free, we used to pay with chicken. It'd be cheaper than my copays. But we've now become, we used to be patients, we are now customers. And I think the sooner we embrace that, just listen to what Bob just said. Customer reviews, customer surveys. These are all the same tactics, how to complain. Those were not things you thought about when you thought, well, your health were at stake. But for better or for worse, ladies and gentlemen, in our great country, you're not a patient, you're a customer. It's a for-profit deal. And I just, instead of fighting it, this is the reality, and maybe transparency with surveys and ratings and incent, maybe that will move things. And I think it's important. We call it the customer happiness show, and we're talking about patient experience. It's important to remember that even as a patient, you are a customer, and a lot of the things you learn on the show will help you get better service as well.
Yes.
Awesome. Bob, good seeing you. We will talk to all of you next week.
Thanks, Amos.